going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal, Spass Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check here once again to talk to you guys about Destiny, talk to you guys about Haywire, the show that I was at last Sunday, and I know it's, by the time this goes out, it's going to be about 9 days late, but for the stuff from this show that's going to make it on the TV, you guys are going to be getting it well later on. Anyways, and you guys know the drill by now. After this, there's going to be a little bit of a musical montage. There's going to be some photos that I took at the show if you guys want to stick around for that. And I will be putting up a couple videos here and there to just give you guys a little eyeball into the show that I was at, because it was a lot of fun. And I think you guys, if you check it out, if you're local, if you come to the show, if you're not local and you check out the show once they make it onto Fight Network, I think you'll find it's worth your time. A lot of people are talking about the NWA Power show and how it's just so different from everything else. You know, you can avoid the whole AEW versus NXT war. Maybe Impact's not your thing or whatever. When this hits TV, if you guys, I said this before and I will say it again, if you guys do decide to take my word for it and give it a shot and check out what these guys are doing, I really genuinely would love to maybe not necessarily have a discourse with a bunch of you in the chat, because that doesn't always work, but I would genuinely like to think what you guys think of these shows that I'm at, because I'm going to be extremely biased. Anything that happens even remotely close to me, anything that's happening down at the Don Koloff, is something that I will have been at live. So not only will I have seen it a long time ago before you see it on TV, I'm getting the live experience versus you guys getting it on TV. So I'm really interested to see the difference in opinion, the difference in perspective. I mean, you guys know we did the pay-per-view review a while ago. Myself and Guapo, he went to the AEW show, and we did the watching it on TV versus being there live. I'd love to get more conversations like that going. I would have loved to have a conversation like that with somebody after SummerSlam, but that's another story for another day. But I won't lie to you, though. I am going to talk, I'm going to skim over a lot of these matches, because, as I say, a lot of them will be televised, and I'll just sort of do it up with, hey, you should go check this out. But the three main matches that I'm going to talk about that told a fantastic fucking story throughout the night of this show, and I don't know how to say this without sounding insulting, but it was the first Destiny show that I've been to where you were where you started with a story, and then the story continued later on, and the story continued later on. There's probably been things before that I just didn't realize because I hadn't gotten used to the characters yet, but they did a really cool thing. So I'm going to go through some of the preliminary stuff. I will say one slight thumbs down, and it's pretty much the only direct thumbs down that I'm going to give this show, is there was no females matches on this show tonight. Coming off the back of the announcement of Shotzi Blackheart coming to NXT, which you guys know I'm really, really excited about. I would have liked to see Two Scoops, or I would have liked to see Silesia Sparks, or I would have liked to see somebody else. It just stuck out to me, and I don't. And you guys know, between myself, Christian, Guapo, now we got Jake in the mix as well. There's a lot of focus on women's wrestling on this channel, so for me to come up here and not mention that it was a little weird having an entire show without a women's match. Didn't bring the show down, nothing like that. Just, I think it's the first Destiny show I've been to that didn't have a women's match, if I'm not mistaken. But our dark match, because some of these were filmed for TV, was Ryan Wright versus El Diablo. El Diablo was the nickname for the guy whose actual name I didn't catch, unfortunately, and that's just how it is. But El Diablo won me over right away because he came out just as Freddy Krueger. So what else can you ask for? Ryan Wright, I'm a little bit biased because of the last name similarity, but also he's playing up the whole let's do puns with the word right. I'm always right. I am always. And then because he's an asshole, all the crowd's like, wrong. Or when he's getting in somebody's face, he does this awesome like wrong before he kicks them or punches them or whatever. What I love, and there's things you can only get when you're at a live show. I went solo to this show. The people that usually come with me to the Destiny shows weren't able to come to this one for whatever reason. I had a family behind me. There was a really, really young kid sitting behind me. Every time he says, you know, what am I? I'm always, and he wants the crowd to say right, and we say wrong because he's an asshole. And the kid behind me every single time was like, no, his name's Wright. And I thought that was fucking great. That was fucking brilliant. Wrestling is directed at kids. I mean, at least, you know, WWE, for the most part, most generic mainstream wrestling should appeal to kids. I mean, we all loved it as kids, even if we weren't supposed to, even if it was Attitude Era, rah. So whenever you're around kids watching wrestling, it really does add to the fun, and it really... I don't really have my critic hat on when I'm at a Destiny show anyway, because I just want to go and have the fun, but it helps you take that critic hat off. It helps you take off the hat that I wear every Wednesday when I'm talking to you guys about NXT. But it was a lot of fun, and there was a couple other instances with the family behind me. I had a couple cool interactions with them. I had a couple cool interactions with some wrestlers that were on this show tonight that I'm going to talk about a bit later. Aiden Prince was there. He's another favorite of mine. Really, really high intensity, lightweight, fast guy. I know he's another one that is also involved in Impact. I do need to really get involved in what Impact is doing again. I really haven't watched Impact in a long time. I know they had Bound for Glory last night, and I'm hearing good things about that. But Aiden Prince was there, and yeah, like I said, like I've said for a couple of videos now, there are certain stars that keep bringing me back to Destiny. Josh Alexander's one, Channing Decker is obviously one, Shotzi Blackheart was one, Aiden Prince is definitely one as well, along with Ryan Wright, and Stone Rockwell, who wasn't on this show, unfortunately. But don't worry, we still had a comedy match. He was taking on a guy named Alex Zane, who I've never seen before. And this dude, you guys all know how I feel about Jeff Hardy. This guy gave me some incredible Jeff Hardy vibes. He came out, and his ring gear is black and purple. He's got the purple hair or whatever, and I'm like, okay, this could be something, it could be nothing. And these guys just bounced around the ring like fucking elastic bands. The match was great. As I say, my bias goes to Prince because I've become a fan of him over the time of going to the shows. Made a point of meeting Alex Zane after the show just to say, hey, never seen you before. Loved your match. Hope to see you again. Hope to see you. He got a please come back chant at the end of the match, which was great. Yeah, so building up. I'm not telling you these matches in order either because I'm going to tell you the whole story that came afterwards. Hakeem Zane and Lionel Knight were supposed to take on the Death Threat Army. The Death Threat Army, I have no fucking idea. Lionel Knight, I've seen maybe once or twice, like what he does in the ring. Hakeem Zane, I don't think I've ever seen before, but Hakeem Zane came out to say that Lionel Knight was not able to come to the show tonight. I had to reach out, I had to go find a replacement, and his replacement was Jake something. And Jake something, I've never seen before. I hope he comes back. The dude is massive and terrifying and steamrolls everything. And again, the callback at Destiny is really, really great. What's my name? Something! Really, really good. But this dude, and when you get into the slideshow, you're going to see this dude dwarfed everybody else in the ring. It was a really fun tag match for a match consisting of 4 guys that I don't know or don't have any investment in yet. So my hat's off to them. Hope to see more of them. Definitely hope to see more of Jake something. Death Threat Army, I'd like to see them against another like actual team, and I don't say that in a disparaging way, but when you have a proper tag team versus a sort of here's a single guy and here's a single guy, it's not the best and most fair situation for me to form an opinion on a tag team that I've never seen before, if that makes sense. The comedy match of the night, RJ City versus Dalton Castle, and I got various answers when I said I'm going to go to a show that has Dalton Castle on it. What can I expect from Dalton Castle? I knew the name, but that was about it. And people mentioned Velveteen Dream, people mentioned Goldust, people mentioned Orlando Jordan circa Impact TNA back in the day. And yeah, I mean, RJ City is a flamboyant enough character in and of himself, and you can tell these guys are friends. They played up the fact that they were friends. Dalton Castle comes out and he's like the peacock of professional wrestling, with all the glitz and glam, pomp and circumstance, the whole bit. But before the match started, they played up this big thing because apparently they had a comedy show the next night in Toronto at Comedy Bar at 9 o'clock. So we can't really hurt each other. Let's just have a nice contest. And they were hitting each other but not really hurting each other. They were doing almost the Orange Cassidy thing where, you know, little kick to the shin and then they sell it like it was a big fucking deal. They went to go hit each other and then they mirrored each other as they both just sort of laid down and posed. They did all this cool shit. One would knock the other one down, and then the other would get in the referee's face, "Did you buy the ticket for our comedy show tomorrow?" And then they shout out to the crowd, "What time is our comedy show tomorrow?" We'd all chant, 9 o'clock. We said, "Where is it?" "It's at comedy bar, and da-da-da-da. And finally the referee had to say, yes, okay, I've got my ticket, which was great. And because it was a show, their comedy show at Comedy Bar was happening at 9 o'clock the next night, every time there would have been a 10 chant for, say, a Ty Dillinger, they got a 9 chant, which was great. It was a lot of fun. Eventually, I think Dalton eventually won. What's his name? RJ City has the knee Arthur, where he pulls down his knee pad and he's got another knee pad with B Arthur on it. This was a lot of fun. As I say, usually Stone Rockwell is the comedy portion of the Destiny Wrestling thing, and he wasn't on this show. So I went in there foolishly, not, like I say, being familiar with Dalton Castle, thinking I wasn't going to get some good, proper wrestling comedy, and this was fucking fantastic. Another guy I got to say a quick hello to after the show, which was really, really cool. But now we break down into the story of the night and the 3 matches that I was looking forward to going in. And as I said, I was looking forward to a women's match because I spent the whole time as they were announcing match after match after match thinking, okay, they got to throw a women's match in here somewhere. But they had the 3 matches that I was looking forward to were Trey Miguel versus Kevin Blackwood for the Destiny Next Generation Championship, Shawn Spears versus Channing Decker, and Josh Alexander versus Marty Scurll for the Destiny World Championship. We started the night actually with Trey Miguel versus Kevin Blackwood, and again, if you want to see, as I said about the Aiden Prince and Alex Zane match, if you want to see a bunch of guys just flying around, Trey Miguel is quickly becoming one of my favorite wrestlers. Now that's not in the same sentence as which ones are the guys that bring me to Destiny. Specifically, Trey Miguel is just very quickly becoming one of my favorite wrestlers in general. And I want to say sign him to NXT, but then when you're in NXT, you eventually have to go to the WWE main roster, and that's a whole other conversation. But Kevin Blackwood, the whole story being that Trey Miguel had won the Next Generation Championship in New York. There we go. My brain's not working today. Sorry, guys. He won it in New York. He became the first inaugural champion. Then they had the 5-way back at SummerSlam weekend that Trey Miguel won. He maintained the championship. He was about to display the belt for the first time, and he was attacked by Kevin Blackwood after telling us that his uncle had just passed away. He gave this great, I don't want to call it a promo because it feels kind of disrespectful to call it a promo, but basically he had, you know, talking about his personal struggles and how good it was to be there and be the champion. And his introduction of the championship was interrupted by Kevin Blackwood because he attacked him after the match. We never got to see him celebrate. We also never got to see the belt. The belt was then released on Instagram by Destiny. Their belt is gorgeous. It's probably going to be in the thumbnail of this video. Probably. I haven't even made the thumbnail yet, all things being equal. But yeah, Trey Miguel, Kevin Blackwood, one-on-one for the Destiny Next Generation Championship was a hell of a match, fast-paced, Ricochet-esque. I would say the quickest comparison I could make would be, say, Ricochet versus Aleister Black. Really good match. Interference at the end leads to Kevin Blackwood being the new Destiny Next Generation Champion, but that is not the story. The interferer on the outside with the hood and the hat's all down and obviously covering his face takes off the hoodie, takes off the hat, and isn't it Marty Scurll? They celebrate in the ring together. Kevin Blackwood's the new champion with the assistance of Marty Scurll. And then we move on to Shawn Spears versus Channing Decker, which was fucking amazing. And I'm going to completely ruin kayfabe for one time right now, and I'm going to do it again later on. I met Shawn Spears after the show. Great heel in AEW. Great heel here in this match. Nicest dude you'll ever meet in real life. But they had a great match. Channing Decker loses to Shawn Spears. I do not get to boast to all the AEW trolls on Twitter tonight. I do not get to say that Team Destiny got the win here. I really don't. Last time I did, because whoever MJF faced left him flat on his ass, and that was awesome. But in this case, no, Channing Decker takes the L, but he is still the Destiny cash-it-in briefcase, their version of the Money in the Bank briefcase. Champion, he gets to go be hardcore, and the briefcase is all beat up and bashed up and whatever. You've seen me post pictures of the briefcase before. Then we move on to the main event, and you know bad things are going to happen. Josh Alexander versus Marty Scurll. Now, the first time I saw Marty Scurll was at Icons 1 last year when he fought Pete Dunne, who was the champion at the time, and he lost. He came in here tonight to face Josh Alexander, and these two beat the ever-loving piss out of each other, and it was really, really good. Josh Alexander, obviously, you guys know that's our guy, that's our hometown boy, that's our... what AJ Styles was to TNA back in TNA's heyday is the only comparison I can think of there, because there's not really anybody in WWE right now. Marty Scurll, really starting to like him. I know I'm late to the boat on that one. Most people know / love the villain Marty Scurll. I love his entrance music. His entrance music is fucking killer, and I can say that because Josh Alexander's entrance music never played. I'm going to put up the video sometime later this week of the two of them making their entrance, and eventually Alexander just gives up and comes out to no music, to everybody chanting Walking Weapon, which is good enough. But yeah, no, the match was great until we hear some familiar music. And that familiar music is that of Channing Decker, who's coming in to cash in his cash-it-in briefcase to get himself a title shot. Now, first off, this led to what I've wanted to see for a long time, which is a square-off between Channing Decker and Josh Alexander. Fucking phenomenal. But the caveat to all this is it doesn't start a new match, it makes the match a triple threat. Now when the match is a triple threat, it's now a no disqualification. Out comes Kevin Blackwood to return the favor, there's some interference, and Marty Scurll becomes the brand new Destiny World Champion by choking out the guy, or submitting the guy, I couldn't see from my vantage point, but submitting the guy that wasn't the champion to begin with. So not only did Channing Decker lose his briefcase, Channing Decker lost the title for Josh Alexander. Now, Marty Scurll came out and obviously had a speech after the match. He's the new champion, rah-de-rah-de-rah. He did say that he wants to go on to Carnage, which is their next show, and I'm looking up on my board right now. It's January 19th, which is a Sunday. He wants to give Josh Alexander the first title shot, because that's not how he wanted to win. He wanted to win by beating the champion. But it was this beautiful visual, and I wasn't able to capture it properly in the photos, but please stay and enjoy the photos. Anyways, there's this beautiful visual of the two new champions, Blackwood and Scurll, with their... actually, no, Blackwood didn't come out with his title, but the two new champions. And here you got Josh Alexander, who just kind of got fucked, and... Channing Decker, who had this briefcase that he's been holding on to for a long time, and his opportunity went up in smoke. And you got Miguel, who lost his title, who wasn't even there, and Shawn Spears, who'd already done his bit for the night. Let's be real. It's amazing to me, and I didn't realize this until I was leaving the show. Here's the three matches that I was looking most forward to on the show. The three matches I was looking most forward to that night. And none of the guys that I wanted to win won. Not a single one. I was in Trey Miguel's corner. I was in Channing Decker's corner against Shawn Spears for a lot of reasons. I was in Josh Alexander's corner for simply because I like Josh Alexander. But no, Blackwood won. Spears won. Scurll won. And I didn't get anything, like kayfabe, I didn't get anything I wanted out of any of those matches, and they were still fucking fantastic. The through line, the thread that went through this night was fucking amazing, and the sight, like I say, of Alexander and Decker on the opposite side of the ring from these two new champions just looking absolutely shattered was fucking spectacular. There's nothing else I can really say about it, other than... we already have one more attraction coming to Carnage 6, January 19th, 2020, at the Don Kolov. We are going to have the rematch of Josh Alexander versus Marty Scurll, and the Destiny debut of Enzo fucking Amore. Oh yes, I want to see more of this. I want to see Trey Miguel get his rematch against Kevin Blackwood. I want to see Channing Decker maybe go after Blackwood for that title because of his interference or whatever. There's a whole lot they could do. I don't know what they're going to do. This was a really fun show. I hope you guys enjoy the highlights. I'm losing my voice. The other matches that I led up to these three matches here, I don't want you to think that I'm slighting them because they were all great, but the story was here. The what drew me to the show, I have to be honest, was here in these last three matches, and little did I know the singular story that those three matches were going to tell. everything about this show was fantastic. Like I say, kind of a bummer that there wasn't a women's match, but that's literally my only criticism. I hope you guys check out whatever from this show makes it to TV and let me know what you guys thought, because I really do think you guys are going to love what they do at Destiny. Anyways, I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Check out the photos. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys.